Hey guys, I welcome you this business financing and access to capital webinar. I'd like to get started with sharing the screen with you and showing you the web page of the business. Yeah, so you see the name of the company is the B Dance because the idea behind that is that with the bees, it's about defending and protecting the pollinators. You may have heard about the shortage of pollinators in different places such as South America, but also North America. And they are so conducive to crops. Then, like for example, coffee beans growing coffee gets affected, then the prices go up. So the fundamental concept with the pollinators is defend and protect the pollinators. So those are two key words: defend and protect. And I saw very clear metaphor because the idea is to defend and protect clients' assets. So you see the way we conceptualize the services like the honeycomb hexagon. So you see, like honeycomb has 6 sides. So that's what we have here. We start with tax resolution here, because if somebody is in the situation where he owes taxes for multiple years and his paycheck is garnished and the IRS can garnish up to 90% of the paycheck. I don't know how they expect people live on 10% of their paycheck, but they can do that. So if they garnish their paychecks, their bank accounts are frozen. The first step is like help them get out of the hole here at tax resolution. And then I was thinking about that, like if these people took risk with the IRS, the most brutal collection agency on the planet, these people must be like really serious risk takers. I mean, like maybe a bit too much risk in this situation, but anyway, it looks like they have like risk taking ability. So if we and I thought if we just harness that risk right and we give these people the tools to start their businesses, for example, we we can teach them color accounting here. And color accounting is like 5-hour workshop, and it simplifies accounting. It strips it to essentials. So instead of doing debits and credits as left and right, it uses color, green for debit and orange for credit. And it's like Monopoly game, and you actually use those green and orange stickers. Even kids like it. So like we can teach them color accounting here, and then we can help them with outsource CFO with metrics and indicators as they ramp up and develop and grow their business. And then like we can they usually need capital for growth. So that's where access to capital and financing comes in. They can get cash from tax credits, and the Inflation Reduction Act of August 2022 was a game changer because it made a lot of tax credits refundable. Businesses can actually get cash. So that's another source of cash infusion. And then all the way through exit, ultimately some companies want to sell or franchise. So it's to help them at this point with financial and tax due diligence. So that's a notion behind the B dance, and to take the client to the source of nectar, to the source of valuable information. Because there is also a thing known as the dance of a deceived bee, because when the bees go through tunnels and different venues, they convey that information based on how they see it, and not necessarily based on actual distance. So when the bees get back, they found the source of honey, they get back, they do different types of dances. But if they misperceived information as they portray it, they remember it visually versus the actual distance, it's known as a dance of a deceived bee. So the moral of the story is the same can happen with the consultants. The consultants can be misinformed, misadvise the client, and that will be dance of a deceived bee, so to speak. I have Josh here, who is a partner with the who runs his beekeeping business. So I would like him to share a few words about beekeeping and how he thinks like the overlapping points and metaphors that can be used to tax resolution and outsource CFO business.
Awesome. Hey, everyone. My name is Josh. I've been beekeeping for a little while now. It's interesting, Vasil's speaking about some of the different dances that bees use to communicate with one another. And it's pretty much like a democracy, the way the bees communicate. They have to all agree before they make any kind of decision. If it's whether they're swarming, they needed to move to a new home, it has to be feasible for everyone. Everyone has to agree on that. So in terms of communication, that has to be extremely clear. So the deceiving bee, like Vasila was talking about, if you have misinformation, that can lead to a lot of disaster, a lot of turmoil for the life of not one bee, but for the entire colony. So you're thinking about your entire business. It's not just one bee. The way the bee is, it's a superorganism. The way the colony works is a superorganism. So there's multiple bees, thousands of bees working for the sole health of that one colony. Thousands of bees for one colony. Same kind of idea when you're working with the business. You want to have a health for your for the entirety of your business. I was just at a conference last week, and I was able to speak with Tom Seeley. He's the lead researcher and author of Honeybee Democracy. He's actually the one who really highlighted the dance that the bees do to communicate. And he just recently highlighted there's multiple dances, not just to communicate where there's a good resource or a good nectar source, but there's dances bees do to wake each other up. When there's a great idea or there's something that bees have to do at a certain time, they do a dance to wake each other up, to get each other going, as well as knowing that, oh, there's certain things that I have within the hive that needs cleaning. There's things that needs to get taken care of. They do a dance as well to come in to call other bees into the hive and clean that up. So in terms of communication, whether it be within a business, whether it be in your own personal business or working within a business, there are communication standards that you need to have, not just within your personal team, but outside working with like a company like the Bee Dance, knowing that information, knowing that communication, having that proper communication is vital.
Yeah, you see, so Josh helps set up people beehives in Manhattan on rooftops in other boroughs of New York. So he provides services like that, and you see that's actually honey from his company too. Thank you for sharing, Josh.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, so today we're going to specialize in the specific part related to access to capital, and I will we essentially the point is that so many businesses struggle with getting access to capital, especially if they are new or their circumstances are unique. So and then if they go unprepared, they really reduce their chances of getting a loan approved. So if they have somebody like CPAs guiding them and preparing their documents with the lender, there is a 71% greater chance that they will get approved for the loan. So it's like about helping those businesses bridge the gap. But then the idea is it's this client got to be helped in the right way. Mm-hmm. So if it's a refugee, for example, then you're not going to send him to a traditional lender. You got to send that person to a specialized lender. And I invited Mega Tuladar from Business Outreach Center in New York, and she actually specializes on refugee and microfinance. So, wow. Mega, if you could come over and share briefly how the program works.
Hi everyone, I'm Megha Tuladar. I work with Business Outreach Center and I focus on refugee and asylee micro-enterprise development. So essentially what we do is we help curate startup businesses for new immigrants, and I specialize with refugee and asylee communities. Right now we're really targeting Ukrainian and Afghanistani communities because of the dire need. Some of the things that we help do is we help establish the business, we help register the business, we provide business technical assistance, and we also do loan packaging. So a lending hand of our organization is Business Outreach Center Capital. We provide funding specifically for refugees and asylees, minorities, but We don't discriminate in any way, so anyone can apply for a small business loan. Essentially, our interest rates are fixed. If you are a refugee or asylee of color that's looking to start up a business, have a running business, and looking for additional funding, we have a fixed interest rate of 3%. We have interest rates for women as well, and then we also have our regular interest rates for that's around 7% across for small businesses. So what Vasil mentioned is we do like to streamline our process. We like to make sure people who are referring clients to us know what our process is like, what our documentations are, what our underwriting is like, what our steps to apply for a small business is like. We have funding from 5,000 to 50,000 and higher loans up to 100,000 for small businesses with different requirements. We also provide grants for refugee and asylee small businesses. So if you are of a refugee and asylee status, we provide matching grants for a savings account. So up to 6 months, you can save up to 4,000 and we match that, and that could be used towards your small business. It could be used towards education, training, your first home purchase, any rideshare business that you might want to start. So that is a way that we provide access to capital. We have partners like Vasil who are working within the communities, are able to identify the right people who can apply for our small business grants or small business loans. And together we work to make sure those loans are successful and the business is successful. And yeah, so glad to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing this valuable information. I want to make sure, you know, that the refugees, I mean, this will be posted on YouTube for a lot of people to see. And, you know, I'll let people know in the community, church, in the community know, because until I met you at the Refugee Day, I had no clue that the program existed. And you told me 3%. And I mean, it was unbelievable. And like, so if I work with the clients, I'm not going to send him to a traditional lender with much higher rate. I mean, this is not the right category of loans for these people. You see, there is one caveat. There is one caveat that Ukraine is technically, legally, and not refugees. They on the temporary program. Yes, so this program generally qualifies under the refugee umbrella, right?
It does, and there is specifics for Ukrainian parolees and Afghanistani parolees as well. So there's flexibility in that.
So 3% is a viable option for Ukrainian people.
Yes.
Okay, great.
And grants as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Right, great. Like it looks like you had a question.
Yes, I had a question. So since your company provides microfinance to immigrants or potentially people in need, how do you keep the interest rates so low?
We've always had a fixed interest rate. It is something that's dictated by the Small Business Administration, and we uphold that throughout. We have our own loan reserve as well, through which we sometimes dive in and work through that. But our loans are SBA loans, 7A small business loans, and because of that, we're able to maintain our interest rates.
Yeah, we see, and that question is actually a perfect segue because Mega said SBA. So I'd like to introduce you to the SBA, somebody who is a veteran working for SBA. He has lots of experience going all the way back. So he's like very familiar with those programs. Currently, he works for Harvest Group in California. And I wanted him to address specifically commercial real estate loans because, for example, I work with one provider's Bistro Credit. And their commercial real estate loans, they basically like what they do is like they offer a loan like for 24 to 36 months, and I don't feel comfortable sending people for this short of a loan, and I feel somebody like Harvest that can do a loan like over 15 years or so would be a much better situation. So I'd like to invite Bailey Wolf from Harvest Capital to share a little bit.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, cool. Hi, Vasil. Thank you. Hello, everybody else in the room or online. I'm not really sure, but I'm Bailey Wolf. I'm with Harvest. we have two lending arms, I guess. We have Harvest Small Business Finance. We're a licensee of the SBA, and we do the SBA 7A loan. And then we have Harvest Commercial Capital. We do conventional loans, and the other big SBA loan program for real estate is the 504 loan, which is used for other purposes beyond just real estate, fixed assets, equipment. But our company specifically lends on commercial real estate, and in the SBA bucket of money, it's owner occupied commercial real estate. So for the SBA, that means 51% of the square footage, the usable square footage, is used by the small business. One way that I've thought of it is it's our loan programs are for businesses that want to buy rather than rent the buildings that they run their businesses out of. So any type of business, really, retail store, a restaurant, a manufacturing company, a CPA firm, a real estate office. There are rules that the SBA has against certain businesses that are not eligible, as in all SBA programs. But for the real estate, just the kind of high level, it's 51% owner occupied, federally legal businesses. Other than that, it's, how does the real estate loan get looked at for the SBA programs? I mean, we look at payback ability of the business, but it's also not just the business that gets underwritten, but we have personal guarantors. So each owner of the business, 20% or more, is a personal guarantor of an SBA loan. Mm-hmm. So the business makes a certain amount of money, EBITDA, income, however you want to call it, and then the individuals that own that business also have a financial side to them. And so when we look at approving a loan for an SBA commercial real estate purchase, we look at the business and how the business is performing, and then the individual and how the individual's, their credit, do they have W-2 income? Do they take distributions? How much? What's their debt? Their mortgage payment for a home or a rent payment for a home, car payments, all of the pieces of the puzzle. Stop me if I don't know how long you're going to talk.
You see, and the reason I like working with Bailey, because he didn't just get introduced to SBA during PPP loans. Because, for example, like my experience goes with the SBA, like working closely, started with PPP loans, IDLE with all the COVID relief. So I was introduced like as far as tangible experience very recently. Bailey actually goes like much like many years pre-COVID, and he has hands-on experience of actually working for SBA, so he knows what SBA would be looking for, so he can help his clients structure the package in such a way as to maximize the chances, because he has pretty good idea and feel for what SBA looks for in order to approve a certain loan.
Yeah, I appreciate that. That's how I know you. I'm not just some guy calling in from California. I worked in the New York district office from 2016 to 2019 in the SBA office. So Bach and all of the different SBDCs in the SCORE and the district office there, I'm familiar with, and the various programs SBA has available there. And our company only lends on real estate, but the SBA provides SBA guaranteed lines of credit, working capital loans, micro loans, the whole range from a $500 micro loan to a $5 million real estate acquisition, refinance, purchase.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much for giving us the gist, of the
thank you.
Commercial real estate loans. So when we talk about Bach, and Bailey mentioned Bach again, that he is familiar with Bach, and the way I got introduced to Bach was through a guy named Robert Bullock, and he's here with us. he's a vice president of Ponce Bank. So what happened was I was scrambling to apply for loans for the clients in COVID. One of the clients was really about to go bust, even though it was like the thriving restaurant pre-COVID. And like I am scrambling, I am applying to different lenders, but the owner of the restaurants was in dire straits. So I'm like, okay, CDFI institutions, community depository financial institutions that are heavily involved with the Community Reinvestment Act and really want to do a tangible impact to the community. Those actually had a higher success rate because those loans were looked more favorably, since these banks are very community-oriented banks. So I'm like, okay, let me submit a few applications to CDFI institutions. So I did some research in New York City. That's how I found Ponce Bank being owned by minorities, specifically Puerto Rican people came back in 1959. Was it 59, Robert?
60, you're right there.
Yeah, 1960.
Mhm.
Yeah, 1960 came and started the bank to serve the needs of the Hispanic community. And so serving New York City since 1960. And Robert came through very fast. I remember him working 2 a.m., 3 a.m. in the morning, answering, like submitting the application. So he was the first one for whom this restaurant survived because like Ponce Bank like worked so quickly and efficiently on the loan. So like we had a relationship since 2021 for my businesses, for my wife's business. So like really appreciate the relationship. And I would say that Ponce actually let me know of the entrepreneur program. And entrepreneur program is also backed by Bach. That's how I found out about Bach. And so like I refer clients to Ponce who have unique circumstances. And if it's very difficult for traditional lenders to supply financing, Ponce looks a little closer look, especially for the community businesses here in New York City community. So I'd like Robert to share a bit about their loan programs and so on.
First of all, Bill, so thank you for that great introduction. And I want to thank the two individuals before me. Some great information from Bailey and also from Maga. So I actually learned a lot, took a couple of notes here. But I'll introduce myself. I just share my screen just to, I don't need to share that. It says disabled, so I don't need to share. I can just actually talk it through. So I'll introduce myself. My name is Robert Bullock. I've actually been in the industry almost 20 years, working primarily here in the New York market. And I've been with Ponce getting close to 4.5 years. And one of the things about Ponce Bank is that I'll introduce the bank and who we are and how our lending program works, kind of in an overall setting. So we are a full service lender. We are, as Vasil kind of alluded to a moment ago, we are CDFI, and really being a part of Ponce, and I learned the importance of what that actually means. So we are a community development financial institution in which you pretty much look at about 80% of our funds are reinvested back in the communities and where we service, where we are. So we actually reinvest back in the communities where we are. And we're a publicly traded company, but we're community focused. So we have not lost the community vision or community purpose. So as Vasil was sharing, we are a full service lender. So you would come to us at whatever stage your business is at. If you're in the entrepreneurial stage, less than 2 years, and I definitely give a push to Bach. A kudos.
I just want to interject. Sometimes people who come from foreign countries cannot open a bank account. So I approached Robert a few times. Look, Robert, like, can you help them out? And he's like, well, if they have some nexus, a connection to your business, your business is New York City as a CPA firm, they're your client. I can work with them through you because you help us make the connection to this foreign individual. So he helped me some on that, and that's why that speaks to that tailor-made approach, even for people like new ones, like foreign people who just came in. I mean, it's a real scramble for them. So
absolutely,
thank you for being for cases like that.
No, absolutely. I just think that speaks to not because I'm a part of the bank, but I like the process that we have in place. And as Vasil was sharing, even from a retail side, looking at deposits, but even on the commercial side, looking at businesses and lending, we really look at the need. We look at how your business impacts the community. We're local lenders, so we're housed out of the Bronx, is where headquarters is, and that's a really important factor because our local lenders, we actually have roundtable meetings every Wednesday, and it's inclusive of our CEO of the bank and our senior vice presidents of the bank, and they actually physically go through the lending deals that we have. And I've actually sat in on a lot of those meetings, and those meetings really entail how does this business impact the community? What's the impact? And we look at the bigger scope. So it's not always about being a perfected situation. There's a lot of caveats to it. So because of that, we can look at all different avenues. So we'll look at the big picture of the business. If you're on the entrepreneurial stage, that's where we partner with Bach, where we will bring you aboard, and we actually partner with our Bach partners, and we'll look at getting you a business plan. We want to find out more of your business in your 5-year plan. What is the goal? And we look to work with you in that capacity. So that's one. And then from a local lender side, if you've been in business close to 2 years, you have a 2-year history, Bach has their own lending capacity, then you come aboard with us, and we're being a full service lender. We'll look at the need, whether it be a revolving line of credit, whether it be overdraft, whether it be traditional lending. So it's all those different caveats that we actually take a look at it. But I think most important, as Priscilla kind of alluded to, we look to you as a business owner. We look to you, your business, the impact to the community, and it's really reviewed and understood. And then that's what we kind of, as a baseline, to build and grow our decision process. So that's kind of a local piece of who we are, and a little bit of what we do. We've been around since the facility, since 1960, and we have a need for the community. We're very interested in getting to know you, your business, and how we could support you in financing.
Yeah, I worked with a different loan officer to whom Robert introduced me, and she was like her name, like her name is Sandra.
Yeah.
And she was super helpful too. I remember working with her at 1 a.m. in the morning, and we were going back and forth about client documents. So I appreciate the hands-on, custom-made approach that you guys are providing.
Absolutely. Thank you, Priscilla, for that. And thank you for allowing me this opportunity to share a little bit about our bank and how our process works in an overview setting. Of course, we can go in much more detail, but I'll just give you the overview of who we are and how our process works.
Yeah, and it's spelled Ponce, Ponce Bank.
Correct. I'm gonna put my information in the chat if it's okay. My contact information, all my information.
Yeah, so now I'll share briefly about another business partner I work through, AICPA, American Institute of Certified Public Accountants. It's known as Biz2Credit. So Biz2Credit is it emerged essentially during COVID, and the idea was to accelerate the loan process. So while traditional banks can take a long time to approve the loan, with these guys you can get to funding 24 to 48 hours. But the question is, how do they make it possible so fast? Well, since they are partner of American Institute of CPAs, they leverage CPA and their clients, because they say, look, we don't know these people, but if you as a CPA, as a licensed CPA, you know this client and you're vouching for them, that helps us bridge the trust gap. And if we bridge the trust gap, we can go to funding much faster. So that's a kind of partnership existing there. So I'll share my screen. I'll show you a brief presentation here. Yeah, so my first slide here is actually comes from Color Accounting, which is one of our service lines. And you see this one presents so-called value cycle. So you see, like I was talking about with green and orange instead of debits and credits, you see this green side is called uses of funds. And this orange side is called sources of funds. Well, the question is, why green and orange? Why not any other color? Well, we normally associate green with vegetation, with lush vegetation and flourishing things. So we talk about investing in assets. That's like the goal is like to get to assets, for the business to have more assets and grow long-term value for the owners. And then so like we talk about the assets, and then here expenses also in green, because we need to spend some on expenses to to get to get the business growing. So this side is called green, is called uses of funds, and this one is orange. And you see there is a little Q with the sun here, because like the color is like yellow or kind of orangey at times. So it's a solar energy. So the question is, where did we get those funds from? So we have three main sources of funds: liabilities, equity, and revenue, which is known, equity is known as contributed equity by the owners and investors, and this piece, revenue, as generated equity, as a generated source of funds because it's generated by the business itself. So we are focusing here on the liabilities of loans, this source of funds here in this webinar. But I want to show you this value cycle here, how it moves. You see, according to the arrows, you see how it moves here from sources all the way into the uses of funds. That's the value cycle, and the tension is between value generation and value destruction. And the goal is to make sure that value generation exceeds value destruction. So when we talk about biz to credit loans specifically, these are the main types, like working capital, term loan, ERTC loan. This piece I'm not going to discuss much because I already voiced my opinion on that one, that I don't consider it like a viable option. So I'm not going to focus on that one. Working capital loans. So roughly loan size between 25K to 2 million. The business must be at least 8 months in business. It's lump sum financing through a fixed payment. Revenue minimum for the business should be like 100K annually, or roughly 10K per month. 500 minimum credit score. But this is like a cool piece that I really like. Approved in 24 and funded in 48 hours. So that's, I think, is like significant value proposition in this piece, accelerated loans. Terms up to 2 years, discount for early repayment. And then what can these loans be used for? So here are like a few uses: for growth, for improving cash flow, for improving existing factoring agreement to get a better rate than very expensive factoring agreements, equipment purchase, payroll expenses, property improvement plans. Yeah, but this one, like I'm not gonna belabor that one because I mentioned the like more we heard from Bailey about more viable commercial real estate loans. So here, like term loans, the size is between 25K to 500K, must be 18 months in business, and revenue minimum 250K annually. So you see, for these loans, they want a higher credit score of 650 because you see the prior working capital was only 500. Then starts at about 13%, funded in 3 to 4 business days. So that's, the accelerated piece, like timing wise, up to a 5-year term. And this is generally lowest cost of a loan. It's, you see, it takes 3 to 4 business days as opposed to 24 hours on the working capital, and the credit rating must be higher, but better rate. Like right now it's 13%. In the current high interest rate environment, that seems to be pretty competitive. And your business can use it for growth, for acquiring another business, for purchasing equipment, machinery, software, cover upfront projects or inventory costs, hire new staff. And here's the piece I emphasized in the beginning. You see, like 71% better quality of applications than submission by clients themselves if you work through a CPA. So that's the piece I can help clients with, by prepare them for application in order to maximize their chances of approval. This one is a very cool loan in the wake of employee retention credits, and employee retention credits 2021 are going to expire in 2025. So this program still has a couple more years to go before expiration. But this, if the company is eligible for employee retention credit and applies for it, then it usually can take between 6 months or even longer with the IRS to process employee retention credits. And what businesses can do in the meantime, as they are waiting for the IRS approval of their case, they can apply for employee retention tax credit loan through Biz2Credit. And they can apply up to 65% of the expected employee retention credit. It's interest only loan up to 12 months, and then it's amortized for 24 months. And then the question is, what happens if the IRS declines the employee retention credit? Well, then it would be turned into regular term loan. And for this one, it takes about 2 to 3 weeks till funding. You can use it for a broad range of business needs, to boost your operational cash flow, for growth, for savings and investment, and for equipment purchase. Yeah, I'll go. So here's the contact information of the firm for you, the bdance.com. Here's my email. Here's the phone number. So the gist of it is, as you see, my firm works with different partners, and we realize as I was talking about different types of BDANs, we understand it's not one size fits all. We got to make sure it's tailored right, and we send this client to the correct lender that will be most advantageous in this particular client situation. So I'd like to thank all the presenters and open it up for Q&A and see if anybody has any questions that our presenting panel can answer for you. Yeah, so I announced question because I don't think people on Zoom could hear well. So Maria is asking a question: if it's a women-owned business, what process BOG goes through for the loans for women-owned enterprises? Mega?
Essentially, if you identify as a woman, we have our intake form and you fill it out. We could take that, but we have special technical assistance as well as loan products for those who are registered not only as a woman but as a, let's say, minority business development certification. So if they have those certifications, there could be additional resources that BOC could tap into that could help your business. So one example is one of my clients, she opened up a business and it was very similar. She had a product-based business and she was expanding, so she needed working capital so she could buy inventory, she could run her business, and we didn't really ask for any certification. She was self-registered as a woman, and she then registered as a minority business development entrepreneur. Through that, she was able to not only get a loan with us with a good interest rate, she was also able to qualify for an interest rate reduction. So throughout her first 3 years, all of her interest rate was paid off by the government. So she only had to pay 1 year of interest. And that was something that BOC does with its clients quite often. So identifying demographics, identifying communities, background, or even if you are a environmentally friendly company, those things matter because then we can leverage other networks that we have. So in that sense, yeah.
Yes, so we see if it's like, especially one of the SBA definitions is socially and economically disadvantaged businesses. So if it's one of those categories, BOC is really good for tailoring for the specific socially or economically disadvantaged groups. Yeah, it looks like you had a question. Yes.
So do you have options for ESG compliance companies? I mean, firms that are right now, as you see, most companies require that they become ESG compliant as soon as possible.
Yeah. So ESG, like economic, social, and governance model. For ESG, compliant companies?
We
I mean, it's kind of the lines you were
Yeah.
alluding to, environmentally friendly and socially
Yeah.
responsible.
So
things
we
like
don't
that.
have specific programs for that, but
Yeah.
if your company does have components that are environmentally friendly, minority owned, women owned, refugee owned, then a lot of the networks and resources we have are tapped in. So if it qualifies in that, I do believe we have products for environmentally friendly organizations or companies. Yeah.
That's quite reassuring. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, access to the information. You see here, here's my contact information. I can triage, as I said, I can triage to people that will be most appropriate for the specific categories of lenders. Because you see, no, when I work with some businesses during COVID, you know, I made sense for them during COVID because I'm specializing in like in the critical acute business response, if you will. So it was good for them to work with me, and then COVID ended, and they moved back to their primary care physician, so to speak, because they're more used to them. That need is not there anymore. But the idea is to refer you to specialists, so that if you have like a broken elbow, you don't go to a primary care physician. You go to the orthopedic doctor who is gonna perform the right kind of surgery in it, or in the B dance speak, the right kind of dance to get you to that source of nectar. Yeah, like any other questions here?
Yeah, so I would say since so I come from India. I come from a
You said India?
Yeah, India.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
So I mean, I come from a marginal minority that exists in the northern part of it, and I am here as a student. What incentive is there for me to be part of an entrepreneur loan program? I mean, how can I qualify for it?
It's really a demographic-based qualification. So if you are a newly immigrant person of color, and if you are making revenue less than 2 million a year, then you qualify for the entrepreneur.
Yeah, I just wanted to say it for everybody on the Zoom. So like in case you didn't hear, Maga said less than 2 million in revenue in business, which is like pretty large scope of businesses.
You'd be able to qualify for that.
Alright, so since I'm a student here, I'm an international student here, and I come here on a non-immigrant visa.
Yeah.
That's a F1 visa.
Yeah.
So what is something different for a non-immigrant visa versus an immigrant?
We currently take EAD card,
Okay.
so the employment authorization
Okay.
document,
Yeah.
as a valid. So according to how long that is, you can get a term loan up to that.
Okay.
Same as parolees, like Ukrainian parolees. According to how long their parole status is, that's how long their loan term can be. So.
Yeah, and I want to comment on the immigration question. I'm not an immigration attorney, in full disclosure, but my wife is an attorney that partners with some immigration attorneys. So one possible pathway is you partner with an American citizen, and if that citizen owns 51% of the company, you own 49%. That business that you create can petition you as long as 51% owned by the American person, and then Bach can help develop business plan to make it into a viable business venture. So you see, there are ways. If you're interested, Maria can refer you to some of her immigration lawyers. Yeah. Yes.
How are you? My name is Beethoven. I'm sorry I
Hey,
was late.
Beethoven.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
So, I'm a realtor in Florida and also New York. I'm lately been in the state of Florida. This program is also available outside of New York, in the state of Florida, or just inside the state of New York?
So I do believe it's a federal program. However, I'm not certain if there is one in Florida, but for New York, we do all the boroughs.
Thank you. Hopefully,
So Maria is asking Robert if Ponce operates. How would you comment about jurisdictional reach of Ponce? Yeah.
That's a great question. So for our, we have a couple of scopes. On the retail side, if you look for retail lending, such as mortgages or services such as those, we actually have a scope in 5 different states. So we can be anywhere in the Northeast primarily community. along that community. As far as commercial lending, we are limited to New York and New Jersey. As far as our jurisdiction, any of the 5 boroughs, anywhere in New York, we can actually do lending, as well as New Jersey.
Yeah, and I just want to emphasize again, like in taxation, there is a term called facts and circumstances analysis. So if people come to a tax professional and ask a question, the most common answer is it depends. It depends on your facts and circumstances. And Ponce Bank is excellent about that specific facts and circumstances analysis in the individual scenarios that the client is involved in. Any other questions we can address? Because, I see somebody posted a question in the chat. My question is also related to the immigrant situation. So one of the requirements in order to get a loan is to get a credit score higher than 650. Is there any useful advice I can use as an immigrant to increase it faster? Oh, perfect question. You see, it's like score building question. You see, 650 is not necessarily for all loans. As I mentioned, Biz to Credit does 500 for working capital loans. But for immigrants, it's a very important question. And I'll let Mega comment on some of their score building programs.
So our box policy is that we don't take credit necessarily as importantly as traditional lenders. So if you are someone without credit, you can apply for our business loans. But our requirement on credit is you do have to be, if you do have an established credit, 570 and above is our cutoff, and there must be no write-offs and collections. So it's really, we're trying to see if you have any issues in your credit report. If you do have issues, we like to tackle that first. Make sure the write-offs and collections are done. Anything other, there can't be any bankruptcies. Just general.
Yes. So let's take a specific scenario: new immigrant, like zero credit. Like how long would it take you to help the person build a reasonable credit score?
If they don't have any credit and they're looking for a business loan, that won't stop them from going further.
Okay.
But if they are looking to start a credit and have a credit history, we do offer credit building loans. So loans up to 1,500 are our credit builder loans, and we can also help them start off with a secured credit card or find ways to start building their credit. So we do help in establishing credit as well.
Great. And I also want to mention for the business credit is very different from personal credit. So in business credit, the score is from 0 to 100. And you see, the goal for the business is to eventually reach the level where you wouldn't need to guarantee it with your personal assets, that you can just borrow under your EIN. And I do work with a partner that helps specifically with businesses to establish business credit. So for a fee within a year or so, they can get you at least 50K under your EIN, employee identification number, not backed with your social security number, but strictly under your business identification number. So I can refer you, like, if you want like to build specifically business detached to eventually detach it from your personal guarantees, we can make that happen too.
Question.
Yes, go ahead.
Regarding a question, do I have to have a relationship with that institution to have that loan, or like how you go to a consumer bank and they want you to have a checking account or anything?
Yeah, you see, I mean, that's the beauty about BAC, that they specialize in immigrants and refugees, like Maga's division in refugee microfinance. It's her entire specialty. And, so they wouldn't require you to have a prior relationship because they are there to help people out there in the community needing help right now. And then what I found out with Ponce, like Ponce was excellent, as I said, that some foreign people ask me, I cannot find a bank opening a bank account for me because I'm so new to the country. And what Ponce Bank does, they look for some service provider. So if I'm a CPA to this client, they will say, okay, if you know this client, we'll use your CPA firm to establish proximate connection to New York State, and we'll try to process their case that way.
So, Vasily, this is Robert. I do have a question regarding the EIN loan lending you were just
Yeah.
talking about. So
Yeah.
I should learn that process. Is that just to individuals within like immigration status, or like with Bach, does it include women in business? Does it include a multitude of different factors?
Yeah, it's actually to anybody. I met this guy through small business X, New York Small Business Expo. They are based in Oklahoma.
Mhm.
And you know, like before I do something, I want to see how it works myself. I am not gonna send some client to a person with whom I didn't work before if I don't trust their services. So I asked them, help my business build the credit. So I actually undertook that process with them, and I see how it works. So like now, since I know them and know how their process works, I feel comfortable about referring clients to them. But it's not attached. It's not attached to any minority groups. It can be done for any business. Yeah.
And then what's the turnaround time? So do you know what the turnaround time? Like they
Usually it's like seven step process, and you know they utilize software and they direct you step by step, and it's within a year they can help you get to 50K detached from your social security number, just under your EIN.
No, that's awesome. Thank
Yeah. Oh, so Robert, Maria's question is she's very excited about entrepreneurial training since I am like I was honored to be a graduate of two of Ponce entrepreneur programs. Maria's question is, what's the long-term goal of these programs? Do you plan to host additional ones? How can people avail themselves of your entrepreneurial training?
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you, Maria, for asking that question. And we definitely is one of the things we're excited about too. And actually, I participate in that program and very excited about it. It's a program where it originated with Ponce in partnership with Bach. Actually, two organizations came together. And one of the things we look at is that we have a series 1, series 2, series 3, and it's continuously growing. But the series 1 is a foundational piece, where, as Vasila was sharing earlier and some of the other presenters, we actually start with giving you the kind of like the ground level to the overall understanding of being an entrepreneur, things such as what type of partners do you need, you know, accounting, attorneys, that type of partnership, banking partners. Then we go on to talk about how to grow your business, as well as we talk about business continuation, you know, how to prepare for business growth is one of our lessons. Then the last part of it is access to capital, and that's where our partners Bach come in at. So that's like series 1, and then we take it to like another level, the next level. So there's now going to be 3 series, and there's a program that's open. You don't need to be a account holder of Ponce Bank. It's a community program that we partner with Bach on to service our community, and it's a great program. I personally think it's a great program. It's 4 weeks, 1 hour to hour and a half commitment in the evening via Zoom. So you can actually do it from the comfort of your home or your work or office space, and it's an hour to hour and a half. And then at the end of the program, we do our graduation. Our CEO comes out when he's able to make it, as well as some of our executive vice presidents in charge of the program. And it's all about networking and empowering you. And we also share with that we also look to empower business owners through this program. Like a lot of the vendors that we use are business owners that we met through the program, whether it be for the food, decorations, other services. So we're looking to grow and partner that way as well. So it's a way of empowering you through this program and through the networking. And it's just an evolving program. Like I said, we're up to series 3 now, and that's all based on what the community has shared with us. They want to hear and learn, and what's important to their business.
Yeah, and I want to share some practical insights as a participant. So, like, I am a CPA, okay? So you would think I should know most of this stuff. So what's the point of me to even attend it? But I'll tell you, when I was listening to the Ponce and Bug guys presenting very valuable advice. For example, one of them was giving a tip that it's good to have two business accounts, one for taxes and another one for regular operating revenue, because you save up for your quarterly taxes in a separate account. That way, when it's time to pay your estimated taxes, you're not scrambling for cash. You had it totally saved in a separate account. And as a CPA, I could really appreciate, man, they really provide value added information, not just some like little entrepreneurial thing, but like truly actionable insights. The second thing, I mean, like I saw tears of joy in people's faces when they said how much the community meant to them. They could go and collaborate together, work in business together. I mean, it's just the whole notion. We're not here on our own. You know, we're here to lift each other up, to help each other out. As Josh was talking about beer democracy. Yeah, so within that beer democracy, how they collaborate. If one found the source of nectar, she goes and points the way. If one woke up, she wants to wake the other one. If one sees danger, she wants to warn other people of danger. So elaborating on the bee dance community concept and aspect of it. And besides, I met my boxing coach. Like, believe it or not, I met my boxing coach at the entrepreneur event. So I show up for the first entrepreneur event, and this like one of the ladies there came from with her coach, and my wife and I start talking with him, and my wife is like, "Oh, like my husband has been considering for a while. My brother was encouraging me, and here we go. Like this guy from Jamaica became my boxing coach. I mean, super valuable. Really challenge yourself." Yeah, you see, I mean, I think in business, it's a lot of improvisation. So, like, when you're there in the ring, you have to deal with the entire psychology of another individual. So, in business, it's about navigation and improvisation. So, boxing, like this boxing coach Ricky, I mean, taught me big time. And you see, I wouldn't have met him hadn't I attended this entrepreneur training. So, we have these unintended consequences, so to speak, of these opportunities of being out there mingling in the community.
Thank you, Vasil, for that. And I also, my emails and the information, our series 1 is pretty much, we just wrapped it up for the year, but we're preparing for series 2, which will begin in 2024, believe it or not. And we go for the first 6 to 7 months of the year. So I'll be more than happy to share that schedule with anyone. If you want to email me information, and I can really share it with you.
Yeah, make sure you write down Robert's information here. See it in the chat.
Thank you, Vasil. Oh, so there was any requirements to join the entrepreneur program? The great news, there are not. What we asked for, and it's really great, like Vasil was in the program, you could actually be someone thinking about starting a business, and you want to know the foundation, like how do I form my business? Which entity do I choose? Should I be a sole proprietor? Should I be an LLC? Where do I start? How do I form my business, the documents? So you can be in that stage, you can be in the first 5 years of your business, or you can be in another phase. So there's no requirement except that you have an interest in either forming or you have an existing business. And that's the only requirement that there is. And Vasil was sharing, we have a whole plethora of different people from different backgrounds and different experiences that are within the organization, and we learn from each other through the classes.
Yeah, you see, and this is people who truly care about the community. You see, one of the reasons Robert left big banking in corporate America was precisely because he wanted to work with the people in the community. Really, like when it comes to the bank, he always makes time for me. So you see, is that idea of like a building the community, people who truly care about the community and being helpful to the businesses in the community, because it's a realization if the businesses are stronger in the community, that community will be much stronger. Yeah, so Platon is commenting here that he is majoring in business, and this program is exactly what he's looking for.
Oh, definitely. Please send me your information. I can actually send you the curriculum, even just the itinerary of the subject matters that we cover.
Yeah. So Maria asking me about the next dance. So when you look at the hexagon, I'll take you back to the honeycomb hexagon, and like to show you precisely in what location it will be. So next time is going to be. Next time is going to be here on tax resolution. It's people and companies with back taxes who are in a serious mess. Their paycheck is garnished. Their wife maybe could the husband kick out the husband to sleep on the couch. Or wife hired a boxing coach to incentivize husband to finally take care of the tax problems. So next time will be next week on Thursday. We'll be talking about tax resolution here, and it ties into business financing also, because you see one of the challenges is when you apply for the loan, one of the requirements is the IRS transcripts. If the IRS transcripts are not clean, it's gonna pose difficulties. So it's better to tackle these challenges sooner than later, because you want to have a bill of clean health with the IRS, with the state municipal authorities, to make sure that precisely you will qualify for all sorts of business financing to make your company grow. And here in tax credits, we'll be talking about grants, different programs available for the economically depressed area, for reforestation, for yonkers, for opportunity zones, things like that. And then finally here, we'll talk in the last webinar, we'll talk about due diligence at exit, when the companies are getting ready to sell or franchise. So we start, since we have experience helping people sell and at favorable terms, when we provide these other services, we start with the end in mind, that a lot of companies will want to sell at a higher multiple of EBITDA, earnings before income taxes, depreciation, amortization. So it's like understanding this conceptual cycle here. It's not just take people's money for tax resolution, for example, and say, okay, bye, see you. But like really, once we help them tackle that challenge, take them through that cycles, like to support them along the way.
I like the holistic approach of your business.
Yeah, so Vasily is saying that he likes, and Vasily, so you might wonder, yeah, there are two Vasilis here in the conference room. So he's saying he likes the holistic approach of the business.
I thought you were talking about yourself in one person.
Yeah. Yeah, it gets a bit confusing sometimes. Yeah, anyway, like thank you so much for coming, and let's continue the conversation going. And I wanted to mention that we do have real honey here. Josh was presenting. So first five people that sign up for business capital services, and I can direct you and I help you on the as a CPA through the process. First five people that sign up, and we'll negotiate the terms, you see, because as I said, it's very custom, tailor-made. It depends on the situation. Now, refugee is in a totally different situation that the business has been around for a while. So we can negotiate the terms, but the point is, first five people that sign up, we'll make sure you get the jar of honey sent to your home so you can check it out.
And just to note, this is not just regular honey that you get at a supermarket. This is award-winning honey that I won the New Jersey State Beekeeping Association award for. It's also super local. I keep it on my rooftop in New Jersey. It's about 25 minutes from Manhattan, so it's really good honey. It's been going like water, so yeah,
That's right.
It's hot.
And as we were saying, the concept, one of the big reasons I chose the theme for the business is defend and protect the pollinators. Let's also defend and protect your assets and get you access to those assets and that cash you need to get your business growing. Thank you guys. Have a great day.
Thanks.
No, awesome program. Thank you, Vasil, for both.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody who participated.